What is going on, everybody? We are back with what is this, week 5? Yeah, week 5. Week 5 recap show and week 6 preview for the Medlin Scratch League. I am James, obviously, my ginger-haired co-host. Sorry, I thought there was a spider on my wall. My ginger-haired co-host is once again tied up with work, so we'll be a couple minutes late, but that is how the cookie crumbles, and so the show must go on, and so here we are. Last week was very, very interesting. The first part of this, and this was just a brain fart on my part, was that Noah was actually out of town. I think he was at a music festival last weekend, and so we ended up bowling with his with his absent score instead of having a sub for him. So, which that kind of it is what it is. Neither here nor there. It worked out in the end, sort of ish, maybe I think. But the rest of it, I guess, just to kind of look at the event as a whole or the week as a whole, is we got absolutely dunked on game 1. They had a really good game 1 and a really, really, really good game 2. So 904 to 790 game 1. And then we shot 963 with a 209 absent and lost game 2, which that was kind of, okay. It happens, I guess. But that was kind of okay, hats off to you guys. Good bowling. And then game 3 came back and really trounced them 975 to 833, and came from behind to end up with a 16-16 chop after losing the first game by 114 pins. So as a team, oh hey, what's up, Luke? As a team, definitely kind of a bit of a roller coaster, but it all worked out in the end. I think we kind of knew this was going to be a pretty close match coming into it. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. It was kind of, I think, Luke, what you said last week of how Chrysler's team is kind of a mirror match of ours.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty dang accurate. Like his team and my team, our team is built pretty similar. So I think it made for a fun match, and it's a good group of guys we were bowling against, so it was a lot of fun in that regard as well.
Yeah, I'd have hated to be on their side of it. I mean, we were ecstatic after the first game. Just chop, they were not ecstatic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Especially after still beating us the second game, despite us shooting 960.
Yeah.
It's just not very often you're going to average 240. I mean, if you went back and, since you like numbers so much, if you went back and entered stuff into a spreadsheet and saw how many team games 960 lost, 963 more specifically, lost last year.
Yeah. The list is pretty short. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd guarantee it'd be under 5%.
I mean, the number of times you're going to shoot 27-19 and lose total is pretty small. Derek said Russ Wilson sucks. It's turned into a good 1-hole or 2-hole.
Chuckles.
Yeah, I'm first off, chuckles. Yes, I agree. But secondly, I ain't saying shit because Russ was good but not amazing the first 6 weeks last year. Oh hey, what's up, Poston? That makes a little more sense now. Yeah. No, my personal goal for Medlin has been revised from Russ -5 to beat Russ for average. But
yeah,
with that said, I was looking at the overall average standings this morning. I'm at Russ +25 right now, and I'm like, number one, there is a 0.000% chance that Russ finishes at 227.
Yeah.
And number two, there is a 0% chance that I finish at 250. So I'm expecting there to be a lot of regression to the mean on both sides, but just kind of personally trying to kind of ride the wave while I can. Aim higher. Yeah. Dude, I shot 750 and lowered my average last week. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do besides shoot more than 750, but whatever. Yeah, so I guess for myself, it was a little bit of a roller coaster. I think I threw the silver ball last week, right?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. So
I'm gonna get him money. AJ's gonna. You got AJ. So, I guess you do have a. Does he have some kind of camp or a bowl demo or something down in Ottawa on Monday night?
Nice.
Is AJ subbing on Monday night against Russ?
Okay, nice. Um, so for me, I got fooled a little bit on the fresh. I think I was just a little too far left
Yeah,
and kind of tried to
we all
circle it
did.
too much. Yeah, and so 190. I think I went no missed make. I'm pretty sure I went no missed makeables again. It was just like I split twice or something stupid like that, and kind of just it is what it is. And then made the move back. I think I moved back like 5 and 2 right, and just decided to throw it really hard at the 6 pin and threw an 11 bagger, and then shouldered it on the fill for 297.
Yeah,
And then game 3 was kind of more of the same, so worked out.
Yeah, it's just the low end of the house hasn't seemed to be hooking that much. Even when we were on 1 and 2, it wasn't really that much. And we were back on 3 and 4 again, weren't we?
Yes, we were on 3 and 4 last week.
And we thought, okay, well, the first week was just going to be kind of an aberration or whatever, and we'll get back, because everything else that 1 and 2 hooked more than 3 and 4 did, but it seemed like everything else after that first week, we had a little bit more to work with, and we get back on 3 and 4, and then it's this same exact thing. It just, super tight down lane, and I think we all were a little bit deeper than we should have been, and so but once we got it figured out. The problem was the first week is we never got it figured out. I mean, aside from you, the rest of us.
I was going to say I figured it out. I don't know what you guys were doing.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was because I think we talked last week of how week 1, I was jamming my pin down Widow hybrid just straight up the track, and that seemed to be a trick. I thought it was a 1 week fluke, not that's what that pair is asking for.
But yeah, because it didn't do that because we actually bowled Friday night. On 3 and 4 as well, and it was totally different.
Yep.
When we bowled that Friday night, so
but now this is
I don't know
2 for 2 against two teams with very different bowler compositions, and the play has been the exact same thing both times. So, I mean, we won't see 3 and 4 again until week 18. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes a little bit, but. At the same time, that's kind of a mental note that I'm going to kind of stick in the memory bank for week 18 is, okay, when we hit 3 and 4 or whenever we hit it again. Well, we're not going to hit it again until the second half because you've already hit the pair twice.
Yeah.
So whenever we hit that pair again, it's just kind of okay, remember to play a little straighter and just kind of jam stable, shiny stuff. So,
yeah.
So it worked out on my side. You and I kind of had a similar story, I feel like, to a certain extent. I'm just kind of floundering a bit game 1 and then find it and do really well from there. I think you had an 8-bagger game 3, if I remember right.
Yeah, I didn't go as big as you did the next 2 games, but was pretty close. I mean, 230, 250. I think I actually that second game was where I think I had the 8-bagger because it was just the first couple frames didn't go right, and then
it was like a 7 or 8-bagger to save 230.
That's right. I had like 50 in the fourth, or no, it would have been something like 30 or 40 in the third, and then I had an 8-bagger and then a 7 count for that weird 230.
Yeah, because that's right. Because I remember saying I was like save of the century.
Yeah,
and then it was
front 4 spare strike spare.
Yeah. Pretty typical clean 256, nothing crazy. Game 3. Yeah, that makes sense. Shoeless brings up an interesting question. Have we noticed any lane condition changes as the weather has turned?
Generally the lanes get wetter as the weather gets cooler, but we haven't really.
It hasn't cooled down all that much yet.
No, it's been fluky. The KCO weekend was a complete fluke. I was telling somebody that I work with about that was talking about how it was going to go back up again. I said, we had a bunch of people in a couple weekends ago, and it was just perfect. And they said, let's move to Kansas. And it's like, well, yeah, it was 80. It was 80 for a week, and then it was 105, and then it was back down to 80. And then we have a cool day, and then we'll have 90-degree days and whatever else. So
pretty much. But no, I haven't noticed a ton of changes yet. I've noticed more differences pair to pair than I have that are weather related so far. I think is the better way to say it. 13 and 14. Was it 13 and 14 that we were on KCO weekend? I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Possibly 11 and 12.
It was 11 and 12 or 13 and 14. One of those.
It might have been 13 and 14 because that was kind of a weird week because they were normally one lane starts drier and then it flips.
Yeah.
They
flip-flopped. They flipped twice. And so that was a really weird week, but there's nothing weird about the weather. So I'm just attributing that one to topography more than anything else.
Yeah.
So I think as I've bowled more at Royal Crest, I've started to appreciate more and more how different pair-to-pair is on the low half of the building.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of, and that's why I've got I don't have it up right now. Actually, here, you're going to laugh a little bit at this. I have yeah, I think, let's see if the screen share is still working. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of. Can you expand me out to full screen? Because I think this is actually a kind of an interesting exercise. I've only got this for a few centers so far, but this is a spreadsheet that I kind of maintain and reference when I'm bowling, especially in tournaments, where making notes on general center characteristics, but also pair to pair is like if I catch 9 and 10 at Olathe, I know that 9 just flat out does not. 9 will be like 4 or 5 tighter.
3 is the worst lane in the building. I'm glad you got that.
Yep, pretty much. 13 is actually getting close to that for me as well. I was on that pair on Tuesday, and 13 was terrible. What do I not have a spreadsheet for? That is a good question, Biddle. One that we will discuss at a later date. But so this is I kind of just maintain this for kind of making notes on that. And you can see right here my notes on 13 and 14 at Royal Crest. 14 flies, 13 tight in the middle. And they were totally opposite of that. But then we get to 3 and 4, and 4 was hooking a board or 2 more than 3 last week. And that kind of played out exactly as I thought it would. So it's kind of helpful just to kind of even just remember what to think about over time. So that's something that I found is pretty helpful. Anyways, so that was last week was much more fun at the end for us than for Kreitzer's team, but
they thought that after that big start, they were up 110 after the first game, and then they added another 20 to that. And so what we're thinking, it's like, okay, let's salvage a couple total points, let's get the team game and at least keep it above 10 here.
Save something, because we were down 14-2 after game 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just kind of sitting there like, okay, let's just maximize, get everything we can. But I wasn't even, the thought of taking total genuinely did not occur to me until probably the 9th frame of game 3.
Yeah, it had to be one of those things where, we had a bunch of strikes going, but 140 with 4-person teams is just not.
And a 209 absent for one of those.
Yeah, and in a scratch league like this, if you go down by 100, you're
trying to save the day at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're down by 100 after game 2, I just try to get game 3 and salvage some singles points or something.
Pretty much, yeah. And it worked out that Kreitzer, pretty much I didn't even think Jay's team bowled a bad game. Things kind of caught up to him, and we made the right moves at the right times, essentially.
Yeah, we bowled a good game, and they bowled a mediocre game, at the wrong time.
Pretty much, yeah.
And even then, that second game, we still got 2 points off of them shooting 980.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, squeaked it for Jaden, and then obviously my front 11 against Jay was going to be pretty hard to beat.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a moment to interject here. Check out the description for a bunch of helpful links and information, and for all kinds of discount codes, including what I've been sipping on at the moment is Free Spirits non-alcoholic replacement. This is the Spirit of Milano that's almost gone. It's kind of a blood orange tasting replacement for something like a flavored vodka or something like that. I'm actually drinking it with a lemon limeade Spindrift. And so I mix those together, and so it's a nice little.
Okay.
It's a nice little non-sweet lemon orange limeade type of deal.
That sounds pretty good.
So yeah, it is. It is actually really fantastic.
Heck.
So
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
yeah, just spicing up the sparkling water a little bit.
Yeah, no, I dig it. So yeah, so I guess looking forward to next week is we have Nick Vaughn's team, which I think you phrased this very well when we were talking a few days ago. Is this team is Nick Vaughn and 3 guys we've never seen before.
Yeah. We did get to bowl next. They were bowling on 1 and 2, so I did try to pay attention. Their second bowler wasn't there, but his book's 190. So
his book's 190, and he's averaging about that through the 2 weeks that he has bowled. Yeah, Vaughn sucks too. Yeah, no comment, Jeff.
Yeah. You suck, Vaughn. Mild thing. I detest you.
Dude, Nick's ball roll is one of those guys that's very interesting to watch him, and I kind of see him in the same class as Petrell almost, where his ball just kind of rolls out and flops forward through the pins, and then you look up at the end of the night and he averaged 240. And it's just like,
it looks like he's got really, him and Jay always look like they have terrible ball reaction, but they knock the pins down. They've got that kind of Chris Barnes hook set, control the pocket. And they're so good with their hand. Yeah. Only 2 eagles for Jay.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I didn't know he had 2. I knew he won the team eagle with Russ. I didn't realize he won the all events eagle that year until a month ago.
There is that. Keep in mind here that Nick's also got a pair of lanes in his house.
Oh, so he's really terrible. Got it.
Yeah, he owns his own insurance company or something like that. So
okay, fair enough.
So anyway, yeah, normally he can't. That's why he was always on those pair. I guess you haven't been around long enough to know, but he's always been a like a Johnny Uri situation. He's always been a split because he never knew when he was going to be able to actually make bowling.
Yeah. No, I remember you mentioning that it was like, oh, Nick can actually be a captain this year because he bowled enough.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, even then he's got what, 9 games in through 5 weeks.
As long as he can make most of them, or as long as he figures he can make 2/3, he'll go on ahead and bowl the whole thing. But but yeah, this is going to be one of those. Yeah, Smallwood had a drink thrown on him Monday by a guy. Asked him about it. We're definitely asking about it. That sounds like So what that prompts what did Smallwood say to deserve it?
Yeah, well, I'll have to go ask him about that on Thursday.
Yeah, hopefully it was a good drink.
Yeah, at least smell nice.
Yeah,
but yeah, so it's going to be an interesting match. It's kind of an unknown for all of these guys. I feel like on Nick's team, kind of what they're. Oh my goodness! All right, back to the bowling talk.
That's awesome.
So a little bit of an unknown with the rest of Nick's team, but it's just kind of a whatever. I feel like if we do our thing, we should be okay. Realistically, I know Noah's going to be back. Jaden did end up nipping you by 12 pins?
Yeah.
For the 3 spot. So our lineup this week is going to be flip you and Jaden, Noah in the 2 spot, me in the 4 spot is my plan at this point. So
yeah, on
nothing
paper,
crazy on lineup side.
Yeah, on paper so far, I have to see where they bowled pairwise, but their leadoff bowler has a pretty simple game. He's got kind of like a Warren Elliott game where he just kind of puts it down the side, and he didn't really. It was really funny because he didn't really miss the pocket much the entire night, but he shot 590 somehow. Like every time I looked over there, it was a nice, easy walk it in kind of shot, and then somehow he didn't really score aside from that second game.
So their lane assignments, I'm looking at the schedule right now: 13 and 14, 17 and 18, 15 and 16, 7 and 8, 1 and 2.
So they've been all over the place.
Yeah, which that actually brings up a nice segue. As I wanted to talk about this a little bit. So up here, this is the average by pair for the league last fall for the entire season. Versus here's what we've got through 5 weeks of the 2023 season.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that 5
So,
and 6 is so far down because that used to be the pair
yeah,
that, of course, every time Jesse hit 5 and 6 last year, he shot 800. I think
correct.
so.
Yeah,
That's when it
and
does.
this includes Jesse shooting 800 on 5 and 6 this year.
Oh, that yeah, last week or the week.
Or like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
9 and 10 is looking really nice. 3 and 4 is looking pretty nice, which 3 and 4 was pretty nice earlier last year as well.
And
And then
we had a nice set on 5 and 6. Or I
yeah,
mean, you and I shot 670. Jaden shot 7-0 or 680, and then Noah shot something 630 or something decent. Because that was the second
yeah,
week. Or no, it wasn't Noah. It was Crystal. Crystal ended
yes,
up shooting.
yeah. That was the week where I was 670 with low man.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and that was on 5 and 6.
of course,
And
who we
then
bowled didn't really
yeah,
bowl that well. So
and then week 3 was Tennyson and Wagner on 5 and 6, and then week 4 was Yuri and Johnny's teams.
okay.
So and then week 5 was Keeler versus Bo. Keeler versus Bo's team. So yeah, it's been kind of surprising to see 5 and 6. Like I think 5 and 6 is one of those pairs where you either see it right and whack it, or you don't, and you just kind of get punched in the face all day. And then
9 and
it's
10
kind of
right in front of the door too. So that's interesting.
Yeah, 9 has always had a really big wiggle spot in the middle of the lane too, so maybe that's gone away a little bit. Overall, though, the league average is actually to within a few decimals of where it was last year. It was
Okay,
like 214. It was like 214.9 was league average last year, versus we're at 214.2 through 5 weeks. So they're like right there on top of each other.
Just where they're doing it. There's a couple different a couple pairs that are surprising here.
Yeah. Take some away from 5 and 6, put a little bit of that out on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 7 and 8, about the same. 9 and 10 is really crazy good so far, which is surprising. Wait, 9 and 10, is that the team? That's the team Zach and Jay's team started on week 1, so that might be something to do with it.
Oh, so yeah, they both went nuts.
Yeah.
I think. But anyway,
so it's interesting to look at those trends a little bit. And we are on, what lanes are we on this week? 5 and 6. Okay. So we're on 5 and 6, which is
okay.
Was that the third lowest scoring pair so far this year?
Yeah.
Kind of weird, but okay.
So,
so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Sorry, you were going to say.
So what's interesting is that Dylan came in at a 211. He's currently at 198. Their two bowler has only got 6 games in, but at 1070 for 6 games, that's like 530 or 540, 540. That's kind of rough. And then their 3 bowler books 220 something, and so far is at 2-0.
Yeah.
And Nick books 230, but he's been kind of down a little bit so far because that's only
214.6.
Yeah. So their whole team is not averaging very much.
Yeah, they've been struggling so far this year for sure.
Yeah, and especially if we're on a lower scoring pair, I like especially last time we were on 5 and 6, it seemed to work out just fine. So
yeah. Which I actually forgot to pull up the league standings so we could take a look at that. Standing sheets, PDF version 20. There we go. Sweet. So, yeah, Nick's team is definitely down there a little bit. They're in 15th at the moment. And we managed to hold on to 3rd. Obviously lost a little bit of ground to Russ and Jerry's teams, but
but still, yeah, we survived because it was, and actually Kreitzer got leapfrog last week because we were.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we held on to our advantage over them. Trevor's team is they had a rough first week. Yeah, they got 2 points the first week, and now they're at 95 4 weeks later.
Yeah,
so they've got 93 points in the last. That's something.
That's a 75% win rate for 4 weeks.
So they're going to be up there again.
Yeah.
We expected that.
Yep. Which, looking at pinfall leaders, is Trevor and then
Trevor
us,
Huss. There's very few
and
teams
then
over 13,000.
and then Crouch, and then Russ, and those are only four that,
Mhm.
and also Johnny's team. Those are only five that
Yeah.
are over 13,000.
You averaging 250 helps a lot too. But
A
still, even
little
if you were at 235-ish, 240, where you figured you were going to be at, we're
Yeah.
still over 13,000. That puts us closer back to 13,000, but that's still one of the higher pinfalls in the league. So
Yes, no, for sure.
and this is with Noah not having a great time so far. He's in the low 2.0s right now.
No, he's
Or under that a little
190
bit.
something.
Yeah, because he had a couple bad
Yeah,
weeks, and then he bounced back the last time he was here.
192 for 9 so far.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, with that, I'll take that any day of the week.
And
start.
Going into it, so I'm up 5 pins so far, and I think that should continue to trend up. Jaden's up 16 pins, and we expected her to be. We expected her to do that. That's why you drafted her in the first place. We only averaged 202 last year.
Yeah.
And I was kind of expecting this situation. If we have a fight for the 1 and 3 spot all year, and we're both at 220 or close or a little over,
yeah,
that's a really good problem to have. That means that our leadoff bowler, whoever it is just going to be wiping people all week.
Yeah.
We might have, again, a little bit of trouble at the 3 spot from winning individual points, but I mean, that hasn't been I've lost, I think, most of my points so far, but that hasn't been a problem.
I was going to say it's really hurting us as a team right now. Like, we're absolutely getting killed. Like, we just have no chance of winning anything in this league. It's unbelievable.
So yeah, our 3 bowler gets wiped and we still get 20 points.
I'm good with that every week. Yeah. And I mean, realistically, you and Jaden both staying kind of at where you are, or even both you possibly taking even another little step forward.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, that's a crazy draft value, because I got to parry you at 414 and you're averaging 437 right now.
Yeah, and I think that's going to go up.
And then if Noah catches up to where I drafted him, which I think is, I think I got him almost at his floor. Like, if he gets to his floor, then we're freaking in business. It's kind of what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, so far so good. But I mean, these next probably 5 or 6 weeks is where we really need to kind of put the hammer down and get our get as many points as we can, because the last 6, Patrell, Yuri, Crouch, Rhodes, Trevor, Russ. That's the last 6 of both halves. So I mean, obviously, like, there aren't any teams that I'm not taking seriously in this league, but at the same time, that's put on the steel underpants and let's get to work type of mindset.
Yeah, especially after what happened with Tennyson.
Yeah,
that was. I mean, we still got most of the points, but that was the lineup mix-up week, and then he shot 760 at me, and then we didn't expect Jerry's team to. I mean, we thought it was going to be close, but they stomped a mud hole in us pretty good. So I don't want to get too crazy out there with predictions, especially because on paper, Nick's team has, coming into it, look strong, and Nick, can pop off and shoot 750 at any time. Again, I don't know the other 3, but Nick's missed a couple weeks. Their leadoff bowlers missed 3 weeks so far. I'm just thinking team chemistry wise, they're a little, they've had a couple people.
It's an unknown. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think that they need a couple weeks with everybody there to really kind of get things going. And I'm not sure that this week is going to be that week. I think that, again, you would hope going into it, you should think that your team's going to be able to get 20. I think that there's a really strong chance that we get 20 plus this week. Of course, again, things happen.
Yeah, but, pretty much.
We thought that the Bolin Jerry, it could go either way. We thought going Bolin Kreitzer, it could go either way. This one, I feel more comfortable saying we're probably going to get most of them.
Yeah. If we take care of business on our side, in theory, we should be okay. Who did we bowl last time on this? Oh, that was when we bowled Jesse's team on 5 and 6 week 2.
They just had a bad week.
Yeah, they had a bad week. Yeah, that was when I just played the lanes completely wrong and tried to make it work with a ball that was too slow.
Aside from
sorry.
Ryan Miller having 530 going in or whatever.
Yeah. Actually, a pretty good segue into kind of talking about strategy and arsenals for this week. Anything in particular you're looking for tonight? Anything you're changing? What's on the bag? What are you looking at?
Let me think here. I am bringing the DNA tonight because I've taken that a couple times on Friday, and that's looked really good.
Yeah.
As a little bit of a play off of my summit. If I need something that's kind of strong and rolly like that, but pops a little bit more, for some reason, my DNA is pretty flippy. So
yeah,
I had the issue last week, which it worked out by just straightening out. And it might have even trapped me if I'd have just said, okay, the summit's a little too slow, I'm just going to get into my DNA. It might have actually worked out just as well, if not better. But I've got a couple balls down in the gold label in my phase G. And realistic, if I need something weaker than my phase G, especially the way I'm, now I can throw stronger stuff. If I have to get under a phase G, they're just obliterated. That's just never going to happen.
If you have to get under the phase G, then you're probably not winning anything anyway. So it's just time to go home.
Yeah, especially I've gotten used to playing a little bit deeper. I've gotten softer with my hand, a little bit better with I'm not rolling it so heavy anymore. I'm kind of just letting it out there, floating it out there, and letting the ball do the work. And so I don't see any. I'm not bringing a lower end ball. I might end up in something like, if I don't use my DNA that much, I might bring something like a Hustle M&M because it chugs and it's a little cleaner cover, but it's got a heavier roll like some of the stronger stuff. And so if I need, a ball down from like the Summit, but a similar shape, then that fits a little bit better than those other two do.
Yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
yeah, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
I think that you used the phase G game 3 last week, didn't you? Or for the second half last week?
No, I used it. I was going to get into it, but you thought it was going to be a little too clean, especially with the lanes being kind of tight. You're like, that's
yeah. And so we just kind of tweaked angles with the Summit and got it dialed in there. That's right.
Yeah, I did. I did use it a couple weeks ago when the Summit was just a little too strong, it was a little too early and too slow, and then I shot 240 with it the last game. So they are going to have to be dry for me to want to use that. And the gold,
but you have the option there. So
yeah, it's just kind of there as insurance. That's a little in between. If I want something that's still rolly but not quite as clean as the phase G is, then the gold label fits right in there, and then I shouldn't need anything weaker than that. So I feel like my arsenal's fairly well set, and that off ball, whether it's DNA or Hustle M&M or whatever, that's going to be a rotating slot. But those other three are locked in for a while.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at the Panda Pack League comments and trash talk going on. Yeah, for myself, it's more of the same, but also not at the same time. Phase G, ABZ. Phase G is what it's a hybrid of the OG phase. Is that right, Luke?
It's a hybrid phase 2, so it's TX hybrid.
Yeah. Let me find a link for that. If I can. All the searches also I'm getting back are for a phase 5, not a phase G. Yeah, so it's a really, really pretty ball. Coloring is actually a little bit like the Journey.
Yeah, it smells like pearberry.
Yeah. Yes, it is an overseas ball.
But yeah, it's a darker kind of silvery bluish.
It's like silver, purple, teal type of deal, but like very dark and very pearlized look of the cover stock. That makes sense. Is the best way I can think to describe it. Very nice, like bottom of the ball type of bag for Luke, especially it's drilled a little bit weaker than some of his other stuff. So I think that kind of helps out as well.
5x2, so
which that's the same pin that I have on my Ocean Vibe, which I use it in that same type of roll, and is definitely going to be coming back this week because I think my average with my Ocean Vibe is like 270 or 275 in Medlin.
Keep getting into it the last game and shooting.
I get into it the last game and then shoot a million. So if I can get to it, then we're in good shape. No, it's going to be building to the same concepts for me of like the big, more torquey but still very rolly ASIM ball, a benchmark, a little bit cleaner rolly ball, and then a weak ball. So NV Tour as my benchmarky. Spirit of Bourbon, nice. Oh, you're trying to fix the camera.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix the camera, but I'm just being cheap and cheesy with the.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it's probably just hard locked at this point.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
NV Tour Pearl, Ocean Vibe, Spare. Those are all locked in. NV Tour Pearl, the silver ball is kind of my cleanish control ball, and then the Ocean if they get really crispy. NV Tour needs no explanation. That's actually the ball I used last time on this pair, so that's going to be kind of my, throw the black ball until it doesn't work is kind of my general approach for tonight.
Yeah.
I will have one new ball with me. I'll see you before league tonight, Luke, since I'm heading over to drill a couple balls for the Springfield 10K this weekend.
Yeah.
Drilling a Teal Rhino Pro, not planning on throwing that in league tonight. The one that I am drilling and planning on taking with me is a fresh cover top speed. So that's just it's a ball I've really, really liked, and I haven't really gotten along with my high speed so far. So just kind of burn a blank there for a fresh cover on a ball I really trust. So, yeah. So, otherwise, more of the same for me. Just trying to keep my decision-making process really, really simple and bring in trusted stuff that I know is going to get the job done. Not trying to overthink my arsenal too much, essentially. Just kind of a weird thing to think about.
And then for the kids, I think Noah's had the best look with his High Road Pearl so far. So I think we probably ought to nudge him more towards that. And then Jaden's
I don't know. He used his Parallax a couple weeks ago when he shot.
His Parallax did actually look pretty good. And I think he did end up getting in his High Road Pearl in the last game.
Yeah.
But Parallax, High Road Pearl, and then Jaden's been taking care of Jaden. She's been going back and forth between a duo and an exotic gem, and
she hasn't been close to needing anything else, I feel like.
No, and she hasn't been close to needing any suggestions either. She knows when she needs to make the changes, and she just makes them. Her adjustments have been on point. Her ball selection's been on point. So
she's been seeing it very, very well for herself.
Yeah. We just let Jaden keep going.
It's kind of like if we see something that she might not have seen, like there was a time where it was like a couple guys on Jay's team went high, and then Jaden goes big four or something like that. And she comes back and she was feeling a little iffy. And, we're like, well, they went high, and then you big four. So even if you didn't throw it great, at least some of that is the lane. So time to make a move type of deal.
Yeah.
And then, but she's like good vibes and good communication.
Yeah.
Have been working very well so far, which is kind of one of my objectives with this team build as a whole. So far, so good.
And Noah's hand is doing better. Yes. I think we didn't have him for a couple weeks, so he's only been there for 2 weeks. He's been there for 3 out of the 5.
Yeah, because he was bowl, miss for the hand, bowl, and then was gone for the
concert thing. But he should be here going forward. So
yeah.
I think we're already in a really good place, and just
and Noah's been very, very receptive to stuff as well. But kind of in terms of lane play and just kind of general philosophical approach.
Yeah.
Like,
he doesn't.
It's been really chill vibes so far, which has actually been kind of cool.
Yeah, nobody has an ego, and everybody just kind of wants to win, but they're not like crazy obsessive about it. But they don't get down when we lose. It just So it
is what it is. We're playing the long game, and we all know that. And that's all you like. 5 weeks into a 34-week season, that's all you can do is give it all on every shot, but know that you're playing the long game at the same time, and that you're going to have up weeks and down weeks. So,
all right,
can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, I think we can go on ahead and wrap this one up. We covered it from just about every angle. So once again, we've got some stuff in the description. I got several discount codes for a bunch of really cool stuff. And once again, we'll be back next Thursday at noon Central again, as far as I know. That's the plan anyway, to talk about what happened tonight and preview next Thursday. We can just go on ahead and say thanks for watching. Good luck with everybody else's league bowling.
And may the strikes be with you.
Yeah. We'll see everybody next week.